Hey guys, welcome back to Mock Draft Madness. We're at day 6 of doing a mock draft every single day until the NFL draft. As always, if you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, let me know in the comments your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft, and let's get right into it. So, the only trade suggestion I had was the Bears moving up from 9 to 7. So I think what'll it take to get this across? Probably maybe like a third rounder next year, just to move up 2 spots. I don't think it's going to take that much. So we're going to force this trade through here, and we're going to start the draft. So this approach for the draft is kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen. I know we've done different scenarios over the last couple days just with the recent re-signings and trades and cuts. I'm going to go ahead with what I feel like right now before free agency, this is how the draft would fall. So we're going to go Caleb Williams, number 1. At number 2, we're going to have Jaden Daniels go number 2. I've been hearing some things that Drake May is kind of sliding in a lot of teams' draft boards, which is really interesting to me because personally I would go May before I go Jaden Daniels just because of the age. But I guess there's a little bit more concern with May for some reason. I think I personally would have the concern with Daniels not really busting out until being a fifth-year senior with Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr., but it looks right now like Jaden Daniels might be QB2. So now we have number 3 with New England Patriots and Drake May. I believe that they are probably going to stand pat here and take Drake May, which leaves the Arizona Cardinals in an interesting position. They could continue their rebuild and, move back for a team that wants to move up with J.J. McCarthy, or they could stand pat and take Marvin Harrison Jr., which I think is probably more likely unless they get a crazy offer from a team that wants to move up. So we are going to have the Arizona Cardinals taking Marvin Harrison Jr., which again leaves the Chargers in an interesting spot. I feel like at this point they are probably going to go tackle. But I will say this. The Chargers, if the Cardinals don't trade out, are a prime candidate, in my opinion, to trade out for a quarterback. I think with a new GM in there, they probably want to accumulate some more picks. I know they have all of their picks, I believe, for the next 2 years, but I still think with the new GM and with, the cuts they're going to have to make with being over the cap and everything like that and trades they're going to have to make, I think maybe accumulating more picks might be the route to go. Now, I do think, though, that there is a chance that if the Chargers are thinking about trading out, I've been hearing more and more and just reading more and more about the fact that the Giants are going to want to move up. So I think what I'll do then is I'll just do a pick swap here and give them like a 4th this year. So we're just going to force that trade through. We're going to offer the trade. Okay. So we're just going to swap picks. And this is basically just to assure that the Giants are able to get J.J. McCarthy here. It's nothing crazy. We saw this happen last year with the Eagles moving up 1 spot just to pick up Jalen Carter. And, the draft compensation will probably be more because you probably have other teams bidding for that number 5 spot. And now that leaves the Chargers on the board. They just picked up an extra draft pick, and they can take, there's Joe Alt there. I've been hearing a lot of hype on the J.C. Latham train. I personally really like J.C. Latham, and I've been seeing Alt fall down some boards, and I honestly think that has to do with prospect fatigue. So I'm just going to go Joe Alt right here to the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, here's what I will say is the Bears are now at 7, okay? So I am in between. I don't know what I'm going to do here. I personally prefer Malik Neighbors, but I have a feeling that the Bears prefer Rome Odunze. I know he's a little bit different of a wide receiver than DJ Moore, and, if you've ever watched Rome Odunze in an interview, he screams bear. So I'm going to go with Rome Odunze because I think that is most likely what is going to happen. Now we have the Atlanta Falcons on the clock. Malik Neighbors next to Drake London and Kyle Pitts is really, really enticing, but you've gone offense quite a bit here on the board. And I'm trying to see if there's any team that would possibly want to move up from Malik Neighbors. And I don't know if there's any team that is going to be willing to move that far up. So another trade that I'm going to do later is, I know I had a Lions fan, I believe, ask to have them move up from the late round earlier to take an edge. So I'm not going to do that here, but I am going to do that in a little bit. So I think with the people on the board here, I am going to go. See, Malik Neighbors is really a nice addition here. But I think there is a chance that they go edge. I really think they're probably going to go edge. So I'm going to go Dallas Turner here to the Atlanta Falcons, and then I'm going to take Malik Neighbors to the Tennessee Titans, give Will Levis a number 1 weapon. Now we're sitting here at 10 with the Jets. I am going to go to Lisa Fuaga, number 11, to the Minnesota Vikings. Now this is an interesting spot. I don't know where they're going to go. They could go corner. They could go edge as well. I don't really know what they want to do at this position with all the quarterbacks off the board. They don't really need offensive weapons at all. So, maybe let's go Byron Murphy to the Minnesota Vikings. I think I had them going there yesterday, but I just think anything on the D-line will help. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have the Broncos trade back with the Detroit Lions. I'm going to have them pick swap, okay? And I'm going to have them pick up their second this year and probably maybe their second next year in exchange for like a fourth. I don't know if this would get I don't know exactly what this compensation would be because it is such a large jump, but we're going to force it through. And I am going to have the Minnesota Lions, the Detroit Lions, taking either Jared Verse or Cooper DeJean. I really think with the more value, you're going to want to take Verse here, just because I feel like, honestly, the corner class, there's a lot in here. Here's what I will say. There isn't like a consensus number 1 corner in my opinion. And I'm not saying the talent is super deep, but I think, they just traded their second away, so actually they can't get one. But edge rushers come at more of a premium, in my opinion. At number 13, we have the Las Vegas Raiders, leaving them in an interesting spot. I could see them going cornerback here, which I'm going to do. I'm going to give them Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo. At number 14, I think it is pretty easy here. They're going to go tackle, or you know what? I am going to give them Laiatu Latu because I haven't had them go there and they need defensive line help. I always go tackle with them, so I'm just going to mix it up a little bit, which leaves an interesting spot for the Indianapolis Colts. They do need a corner here, but I think the idea of Brock Bowers is just too enticing to pair him with Michael Pittman Jr. And then you have Josh Downs, give another weapon to Anthony Richardson. That is the most important part of the development. At number 16, we have the Seattle Seahawks. So let's see. They could do a lot with their interior. I know that's something they're really looking to do because they have their tackles, and then, we saw Kevin Dotson get re-signed today with the Rams. I believe the Jaguars have re-signed both of their guards. So some of the top guards are going to be off the market. There is a lot of centers. So I think Jackson Powers-Johnson would be a good move for them because he can play interior. And it's such an easy pick for them, and I hate to keep doing it, but it just makes the most sense in my opinion. At number 17, and I realized I just fucked up the whole thing because I was saying, I'm going to do what I think the mock is going to be, and then I traded the Lions to 12. So ignore what I said. This is just an interesting mock, and we're going to ignore what I said. So now we are looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars. They could use help. Well, they don't really need interior anymore. They do need a cornerback, so I'm going to give them Terrion Arnold out of Alabama. At number 18 with the Cincinnati Bengals. So we have Cooper DeJean sitting here, and I think he's a good pick for the Eagles. I really think he's a good pick for the Eagles. I think that makes a lot of sense. But with Jerzon Newton sitting here for the Bengals, it just makes too much sense to solidify that interior. At number 19, we just saw them sign a guard. I'm not going to go O-line here. Olu Fashanu is sitting here really, really nicely for them. What I think I'm going to do, though, see, it just makes too much sense to give them Cooper DeJean, no? Like, I feel like Cooper DeJean would be a great pick for them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give Cooper DeJean to the Los Angeles Rams. At number 20, give me Olu Fashanu to the Pittsburgh Steelers. 21, Troy Fontanu to the Dolphins. I got the Lions on my brain. All right, at number 22, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. So, Cam Jurgens is going to be sliding into center, I would imagine. And then they have Lane Johnson, and I'm blanking on the rest of their O-line. But, I don't think it's the worst thing to go tackle here. You could go Graham Barton to play kind of tackle and then the interior. Or you could go, Amarius Mims, J.C. Latham. Like, these guys are sitting here at prime positions. So I think I am a little bit higher on Latham. I think Mims has a higher ceiling, but I think Latham would be a good pick for the Philadelphia Eagles if you want to sit and develop a tackle. At number 23 for the Houston Texans, we are in an interesting spot. Sarah, I know they need IDL, but I just don't know where they're going to get that IDL help, So what I think I'm going to have, here's what I'm going to do. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try something a little bit crazy. I am going to have the San Francisco 49ers swapping picks. I'm going to say this pick gets it done, whatever. We don't know all the compensation. So we're going to force that trade through. And now with the 49ers on the board, I'm going to have them taking Amarius Mims, which I think would be a great pick for them. At number 24, we have the Dallas Cowboys. Give me Graham Barton. That makes a lot of sense for them, solidify that interior. At number 25, to the Green Bay Packers. So I think they need a little bit more interior than they do tackle. I think they do need help in the secondary. And Nate Wiggins is sitting here, so I'm going to give them Nate Wiggins. I don't think I've had Nate Wiggins fall to the Packers in any of my last mock drafts. I like Nate Wiggins. He's just really skinny to me. He reminds me he's a little bit bigger than Emmanuel Forbes and more athletic, but I don't know. I just don't love it. So now we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the clock. They could use some interior help. I am going to give them Zach Frazier because they need to replace the center after Ryan Jensen retired. At number 27, I am going to give them an edge player. I'm going to give them Chop Robinson. I think Chop is very high ceiling and has a lot of traits that you really want. He's very raw and needs to be developed, but I still think that's something that Jonathan Gannon would want. I mean, it's a very young team, and it's going to be a couple years before they're competitive. I think it makes a lot of sense for them. Brian Thomas Jr. to the Bills. Pair him with Stephon Diggs, and you're starting to cook with gas. At number 29, we have the Denver Broncos, and I'm going to have them taking Bo Nix. You trade back, get some draft capital, and you still get a round one quarterback because the first four are already off the board. There's really no reason, in my opinion, to take them at 12. At number 30, we got the Baltimore Ravens. I think I'm going to give them, I want to give them Adonai Mitchell, but I think at the end of the day, Ronnie Staley, Morgan Moses are getting a little bit older, so I am going to give them Tyler Guyton to develop. At number 31, we have the Houston Texans on the clock. This leaves them in an interesting spot. They just re-signed Dalton Schultz, and they have, Nico Collins. They have Tank Dell. They have John Mechie, even though he hasn't been anything crazy. The IDLs are off the board here. I know what I was going to do. So I'm going to go interior defensive lineman, and it's a big reach, but I'm going to give them Tavondre Sweat. At number 32, we're sitting here with the Kansas City Chiefs. So I am going to do something. I'm going to make one last trade here. This is kind of a wild mock, so bear with me. I'm going to give him 77 and maybe like around 6 next year. I'm going to force this trade through, and then I am going to give them Michael Penix. So this is the first time where I've had all these top 6 quarterbacks go in my mock draft. So thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft in the comments. Obviously, this one is a little wild. Ignore what I said at the beginning about doing what I think is actually going to happen, because I don't think this is actually going to happen. But a little fun scenario to see all the quarterbacks go in the first round. Sorry for the late upload. It was a longer day, but appreciate you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your night.